Alright, this YouTube channel is all about optimizing yourself, and I think one of the best ways to optimize yourself is to look at how you manage your time. But I'm not one of the only people on this platform talking about this. There are plenty of others. So today I saw a thumbnail for a video from Ali Abdaal. The video is called How I Manage My Time, 10 Time Management Tips. And I thought it might be a cool idea to talk about this because I feel like a lot of YouTubers in this like productivity, self-optimization space, I feel like a lot of them make videos just because it's their job, and a lot of the times I feel like the tips they give aren't helpful, at least not for the mass majority of people. So that's what I want to do today. I want to watch this video from Ali and give you my opinion on if these are tips that are actually helpful, if they could help you in your personal life, or if he was just trying to crank out a video to get some views. Okay, let it begin.
All right, so over the past 10 years, I have read basically all of the books around productivity and time management. And in that time,
Sorry, didn't mean to pause it right away, but I just think it's really funny how he's opening this up with pouring orange juice. It feels a little, it's a funny way, you know, it's a funny way to open up a video. It feels a skosh, staged, just a skosh, but you know, let's keep going.
there are 10 things that I still use in my life, genuinely use to help make my time management more efficient. Let's talk about them in this video. Tip number 1 is that we absolutely own all of our time. Now,
and the orange juice is in like a chalice. Is that what it's called? Very classy. Very good. Very strong, Ali. I like how this is starting.
this is like a big one. When I first had this realization, my life genuinely changed because I used to think I don't have time to do stuff. And I don't know where I read it, but I came across this probably like a fortune cookie somewhere, which said something like, at any given moment, you are doing what you most want to be doing. And that was a very empowering thing for me because I was obviously in need of empowerment. And it helped me realize that my time is entirely within my control. Like right now, I'm filming this video because I want to be. Earlier today, I spent 6 hours playing World of Warcraft because that's what I wanted to do. I could not have said I don't have the time to work out today. Instead, it was a case of I'm actively choosing not to make the time to work out today. And so when it
Okay, I really like that, and I really agree with that, and I really like how transparent he's being, because he's like this guy that, you know, people look up to about how to manage their time, and he's just admitting to playing 6 hours of World of Warcraft. So that's kind of cool that he's being that real. But I absolutely agree with this tip. I think so often when people act like they don't have time for something, it's frequently not that they don't have time, but instead that they don't manage their time well enough. I mean, they are the only reason why they wouldn't have time to do something.
Point number 2 is the title of this book by Derek Sivers, Hell Yeah or No.
The H word. We're gonna keep letting it play, all right? But you know, we're family friendly here. We don't agree with those words. But he is British, and I think maybe it's less extreme where he's from, in the good old UK.
What's worth doing? Now, the vibe here, hell yeah or no, it kind of says it all in the title. That when we're young and we don't have very many opportunities in our lives, we should probably say yes to the majority of things that are coming our way. But as soon as we get to a point where we're starting to get more inbound leads than we have time available, we start operating with a hell yeah or no maxim. And the idea there is something is either a hell yes or it's a no. And so if I get an email from someone saying, hey, do you want to do this thing? And I'm thinking, maybe it sounds kind of all right, then my default position is going to be no. If I get an email from someone saying, hey, do you want to do this thing? And I'm like, hell yeah, then I'm gonna do the thing.
Okay, yeah, I agree with this. I was talking to a friend recently and I told him he needs to respect his time enough to not do things that aren't a good value of his own time. Like if someone asks him to do something that he just absolutely doesn't want to do and it's just like, you know, it would just be a waste of time, he needs to respect himself enough to say no. So I think that concept is sort of similar to what Ali is saying here. Basically, just be really picky and a good gatekeeper of your time and what you're spending it on. All right.
Thirdly, there's a tip I picked up from this book called Make Time by Jake Knapp and John Zaratsky. And this tip is called the daily highlight. This is like deviously simple. Basically, the idea is that every day we decide this one thing is gonna be my highlight of the day. This is the only thing I need to get done today. And on the days where I set a daily highlight, and I try and do this every day, I always get the thing done, and I'm always really happy at the end of the day. But if I have a day where I don't set my daily highlight, then I kind of drown in my to-do list, and I have this just image in my head of like, oh yeah, I need to do this and this and this and that. And it's a lot harder to get stuff done. Whereas on days where I have the daily highlight, I have that just one thing that I'm focusing on, this is the most urgent or the most satisfying or the most fun thing I have to do today. And then it just really, really helps with my time management.
Okay, yeah, that's a great tip. That reminds me of a tip that I talked about in a video before, where every single night before I go to bed, I make the list of the things I want to get done. It's a similar concept because he's saying that basically by having just one big thing that you focus on, you eliminate the confusion of having to worry about what to do. So it's the same concept. The reason I make a list before I go to bed is because I wake up and I have a plan for the day and I know what I need to get done. So it really takes all of that decision paralysis out of your mornings.
Tip number 4 for time management is to use a to-do list. And these days I use a physical to-do list with this analog by Ugmonk. It's very nice. It's like you get these like note cards and then you get this like wooden thing and you like put the note card in the thing and it looks like this. And
it's kind of cool. I wonder if he's sponsored by them though, if he, gets a little kickback by mentioning that. It's possible.
And that means like every morning, once I figured out what my daily highlight is, I make a list of the other stuff that I have to do that day and I shove it on a list and then I tick them off and cross them off with physical pen as I go throughout my day. It doesn't really matter what system you use for a to-do list, but again, there's a general principle of productivity, which is that our brain is for having ideas, not for holding them. And a big part of why we let stuff slip through the cracks when it comes to managing our time and managing our productivity is because we haven't written them down. And so anytime I need to do something, I write it down into an app. These days I use Roam. But then when I figure out my daily to-do list, it's all based on this analog system by Ugmonk, which is very nice.
Okay, yeah, big fan. I'm a big list guy. So far, Ali, I think that, or maybe it's Ollie, not Ali, whatever it may be. Sorry for mispronouncing it if I did. I think this video so far, I think you're trending pretty well. I think these are actually helpful things that can help people out. So let's carry on, shall we?
Principle number 5 for time management is the concept of time blocking. Apparently, this is something that Elon Musk does all the time. And basically the idea there is anytime we need to do something,
Yep, I just talked about this. Elon Musk time blocks all of his days in 5-minute increments. If you want to watch the video talking about that, click the link right up here. Anyway, let's keep going.
We put a block for it in our calendar. So I don't like doing this for absolutely everything because I'm a bit of a waste man, and I think the more time I spend managing my productivity system, the less time I spend actually getting stuff done, and then it's just all completely pointless. But the one thing that I always schedule into my calendar at the start of the day is my daily highlight. So if I've decided my daily highlight is filming this video, usually, I'll try my best to schedule it into my calendar at the time where I know I'm gonna film the video. If my daily highlight is call my grandma, I will literally schedule it into my calendar. If my daily highlight is make changes to my website, I will schedule it for a block in my calendar. And that's like really nice and reassuring because it means that that one thing that I've decided is really, really important.
I like where he's going with this. I think time blocking is great. I just think I never want my life to get to the point where I have to schedule to call my grandma. Like, absolutely, I want to be intentional and everything, but man, if I have to schedule to call my grandma, I think I've gotten too busy for my own good.
Is always going to get done because it's always on the schedule. And then if I need to move it around, I'll move it around if something comes up, but at least it's there on the schedule by default. And this thing where you combine the daily highlight with time blocking it in the calendar is just incredibly useful. Everyone always kind of thinks that like, oh, but only one thing a day, don't you have to do more than that? And yeah, you do kind of have to do more than that in most of our lives. But imagine if every single day for the next year, you could actually do the one thing, the one most important thing to do that day. You'd make a hell of a lot of progress over the course of the year, and it would just be absolutely game-changing. Principle number 6 is related to something called Parkinsons Law, which is that work expands to fill the time that we allocate to it. So if I have to film a YouTube video in a day, and I give myself the whole day to film that YouTube video, inevitably, it's gonna take all day to film the YouTube video. Whereas if I only give myself...
Yeah, okay, I really agree with what he's saying here. I actually have a video that I wanted to make for this channel that's gonna be coming at some point, but I think a really good habit to get things done is to treat yourself like an employee. So what he's saying is create artificial deadlines, things that you don't have to, meet a project deadline by, but you force yourself to. You treat yourself like an employee as if you have a boss that's gonna, there'll be some negative consequence if you don't reach that goal. I think that's a really great way to just look at productivity overall as a whole.
Point number 7 is one I've started applying recently, and that is having protected time. When you're an entrepreneur and you're like working for yourself and all that kind of stuff, you end up basically being able to set whatever schedule you want, but like if you're like me and you like making connections and making friends with people all around the internet, you get to a point where your day is filled with lots and lots of Zoom calls. And I realized that for me, I need to keep my mornings completely free of any obligations or any Zoom calls. And this has been an absolute game changer because in the morning, that means I can wake up whenever I want. Usually it's 8:30 these days. And it means that for a solid like 4 hours at least, I've got uninterrupted time where I can do whatever I want. So these days I'm working on writing my book. And so the morning is my protected time for writing. But even on days where I'm not working on the book, it's just genuinely so nice to have that like time slot where I can think about the business or plan some more videos or do the things that help move me forward in my work career. And sometimes, if I'm not really feeling it, I'll just decide, you know what, I'm gonna use this protected time to play World of Warcraft or to just kind of relax and...
Yeah, okay, big fan of that too. I think having time that you don't allow anybody to interrupt is not only super helpful for productivity, but just mental health in general. I think also it goes far enough to say that it's a sign of self-respect. If you can respect yourself enough to say, this is my block of time, and I'm not letting anybody touch it. I think that goes a really long way. So I'm a big fan of this tip.
All right, principle number 8 is delegation. Now this one is a little bit weird because normally when you say the word delegate, people imagine that, oh, well, I can't afford to delegate something. I don't have enough money to delegate to hire someone. And sure, that's probably true. But the way that I think of it, even when this YouTube channel wasn't successful, was that like, what is actually the dollar value of my time? How much is my time actually worth? And when it came to running my business, I decided that, okay, my time is worth £20 an hour or $25 an hour. And that means that anything I'm doing that I don't enjoy, that I can outsource to someone, that I can delegate for less than $25 an hour, I absolutely should do that.
Okay, yeah, I really agree with this as well. The book that I just finished, which is Procrastinate on Purpose, similarly to how Ali is talking about if something isn't worth his time and money, he might delegate it. This book talks about if something isn't worth your time and money, maybe just procrastinate on it and then eventually cancel it and figure out if it's even worth doing at all and if it's something that you even need in your life. Big fan of this book. If you haven't read it, I would check it out.
Tip number 9 for time management is to try and automate scheduling as much as possible. Now that we're in the world of like Zoom calls and like chatting to people over the internet basically every day, I found I was wasting a lot of time in scheduling back and forth where I'd be like, hey, I want to talk to you, but like, are you free this time Pacific time, this time Eastern time, this time British Standard Time, all this kind of stuff. And we'd go back and forth with emails for like a solid 10 days before anything would get done. But then I discovered an app called Calendly, and Calendly is great. It's free for like the free version. I pay for the pro version these days. Not sponsoring this video or anything like that. Unfortunately, Calendly, if you're watching this, let me know. But the idea behind Calendly is you can literally send someone a link and it has like all of your availability and they can just book a slot in your calendar.
Yeah, I think that this is a super helpful thing. I've used Calendly before, but I feel like his audience is not mostly professionals who have a billion meetings every day. So I think, yeah, absolutely. Automate your scheduling if you can, but I think for a lot of people, it may not be crazy applicable.
And finally, principle number 10 for time management. And this is something I've only recently started to appreciate, which is that like when you're like a productivity nerd and you're interested in like efficiency and getting more done, it's very easy for us to get to the end of the day and to just feel chronically dissatisfied with what we've accomplished. Like at the end of the day, it's like, oh, well, I filmed one video today, but I could have filmed 5 videos. What's wrong with me? I'm such a waste man, and kind of internally beating ourselves up about this. But one thing I've started to kind of tell myself recently is that I can choose to be satisfied at the end of the day. At the end of this day, I'll have filmed this video. I was planning to film 3 more videos, but I didn't get around to doing those. That's fine, I filmed 1. I can choose to be satisfied with what I've done, and that's all good. And like, it doesn't change how much work I've done by me beating myself up about it. It just makes me feel bad. And therefore, I can choose to feel good with how I've managed my time.
Choosing to be satisfied with your work, that is huge. I've literally been writing a video about that I want to post on this channel at some point soon. But basically, I think so often we are our own worst critics in such a toxic way. Like for me, the exact thing that he's talking about, I'll be like, okay, I've got an open space of time. I'm gonna write and film, 3 videos, and then 1 will happen. And I'll just be like, why am I so lazy? But I don't think laziness is the issue. It could be, sometimes I'm not perfect. I think so often we need to be more flexible with ourselves and like what he said, choose to be satisfied with the level of work that you are able to get done, especially if certain things were out of your control. For instance, I had a bunch of videos I wanted to film this week and I got COVID. So that happened. All right, so those were the 10 tips. What do I think? Do I think that these were tips that are actually helpful for the mass majority of people? Yes, I do. Ali, nice video. If you want to see more videos like this, don't forget to subscribe, comment for the algorithm, and I'll see you guys next time.